Hey, Sherry here. Wow, we have another amazing person to share with you. I'm so excited to welcome Kelley Raleigh to the WOW Warrior Show. Welcome, Kelley. I'm so glad you could be here today.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here too. I always love talking about all things
I know,
fun.
and I just love the whole kind brain thing, because being a licensed brain trainer, this is right up my alley. But I want to share with people, you have a very unique story about how you came to what you do, and I want to just have you share a little bit about your experience, and really how you came to be helping people the way you do, which will cause people to say, wow, I'm sure.
I mean, we'll see. Hopefully, or not. I guess everyone will have their own experience. Um, well, yeah. Again, thank you for having me. And I mean, I've been in the heart-centered education world for 15 years, over 10 years. I don't even know at this point. I mean, once you like cross 40, like everything's a blur. But I was always in the personal growth world, and I was always in a meditation practice, and I was always wanting to like up level myself. And about 3.5 years ago, I had a 3-year-old, and I wanted to get back into or at least see if I wanted to get back into the game and just see what was out there for me, because I was a very type A personality, but I could tell my brain was not working how it used to. And I'm like, I don't know if I can manage and create, a huge project right now, and with people, with other humans, and what that looked like. And my friend introduced this brain training technology that was completely non-invasive and helped me focus kind of from the first session. It was one of those things where it was like, oh, wow, this is a game changer. And I actually felt like I was meditating deeper, and I actually felt like I was just in a different flow that I hadn't been in a really long time prior to having a child. And so the business I bought my own system from there, and the business kind of took off after that. And the biggest impact I would say, though, that it's had on me, or the biggest way that it supported me and was really my aha moment of like kind of notching up my business and my game, was when my husband died unexpectedly a year and a half ago. And my life changed literally in the matter of a second. And there was nothing I could do. He had already passed, and we found him that way. He died, his heart just stopped. There was nothing nefarious about it, nothing crazy. And I had this machine for a year and a half, and I'd been doing my meditation, I'd been doing my brain training, I'd been doing this practice for a year and a half. And I remember the next day waking up and going, okay, I am choosing to continue my epic life. I am choosing to do this. I am not going to let this take me under, and I'm going to see that this is for me. Granted, there were ups and downs and all of that. Granted, there was a lot going on. But I continued doing my brain training on myself. And it really brought me into the present moment of grief, of feeling the things, of being a parent, of understanding what all of this means and why am I here. And kind of, I don't want to say it saved me. I feel like that's pretty dramatic. That's not my languaging. But it definitely kept me resilient and present and able to move forward in my life. And, I haven't turned back since.
I cannot possibly tell you how much I love that you said I decided to continue my epic life. And I know in the space of grief, it feels so impossible to feel like you can continue on, especially having such a young child at that age, and all the things that come with it, and the explanations, and all the things. I mean, and who's there to support you. I mean, there's a lot that goes on with that naturally, but I think it's really interesting that you got introduced to this, I think, prior to when you'd actually really truly would
Really,
need it.
yeah.
I guess we could call that all sorts of things, but we'll just call it meant to be, I guess.
Yeah.
But how great that you had such an incredible tool. Now, when you were learning this process, because we're going to talk a little bit about what the system is, how it works, but when you were first introduced to this, did you have any idea that it would be something that would be useful in like a grief recovery situation?
Actually, yeah. My late husband's aunt, actually, I think she was probably 82 at the time. She's still alive, actually. She lost her husband of like probably 51 years, like a significant amount of time, right? So that is just like the body is used to that person. So she actually lost her husband, not unexpectedly. I mean, they were in their 80s, and we would go down, and she lived close to here, and we would go and do sessions on her. And I think it was after like the third or fourth session, she's like, I actually don't feel like I need to cry every day now. So I actually had the experience of someone else saying this is supporting them through grief, but we weren't really doing it for that reason. I mean, it was, she was in her 80s, she wanted to support me, she wanted to see how this was going to help her, and she had a pretty profound experience too. And I have to say, I think she's 85 now, living her best life, living in Idaho now. She moved out of California and is still a powerhouse. And so she got her life back too, you know, and she was ready for it.
Oh my gosh, what an incredible gift. And how like amazing is it that at, in your 80s that you can go, ah, well, life's just starting.
You
Like
know,
who
so
doesn't
that's
want
true.
that? I love that. I love that so much. And really what a gift to be able to help somebody that you love anyway. I mean, I think as heart-centered leaders, we often love doing that, but I think it's especially impactful when you can do that with somebody that's a family member. So that's super cool.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about what this brain, kind brain thing, quote unquote, is a little bit. And I think we'll talk about that when we come back from this commercial break. And then you can tell us all about it, Kelly, and what it means for somebody else if they're going to be, introduced to this kind of technology and how it works. Hi, everybody, and we're back with Kelley Raleigh, the intuition coach and brain trainer. And before the break, we were talking about this really cool technology that Kelly herself has used to really, really get herself back on track. And as she said, regain her and move on with her epic life after a really incredibly difficult life situation of losing her husband. So, Kelly, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what this technology is, how it works for somebody.
Yeah, yeah. So the technology is called NeuroOptimal, and it was created over 20 years ago by Val and Susan Brown. They are clinical psychologists, still clinical psychologists. They're both in Montreal, and they were in the direct neurofeedback world in the early 90s, and we're really wanting something for the average person. Obviously, people can go to talk therapy, and what we would label as direct neurofeedback is usually going to have a diagnosis and a manipulation to the brain. There's going to be something that is put into the brain, or the brain is moved in a certain way to get a certain result based on that diagnosis. So they wanted something completely different. And so, I mean, it was over 10 years of trial and error and studying. And, you know, he's also a mathematician, and figuring out what that looks like so that the average person would have support and not need a diagnosis and could use a really user friendly technology. So this version, this, neurooptimal has been around for over 20 years, like I said, and it's literally a laptop with the software on it. And it is a little box like the size of an iPhone, and it has 5 sensors. And you put 2 sensors on your head and 3 on your ears, and you listen to really relaxing music for 30 minutes. Most people, when they come to see me, because you have to be with the system in person to do it, and I'll explain more on that in a second. But when you come to see me and do a session, most people, because you're in like a spa-like environment, you've got a view like this outside of trees, and it's calm and it's quiet and peaceful. And most people sleep throughout the session. You do not have to do anything to get like the best result. Throughout the music, you'll hear little skips, and that's literally your brain getting the feedback in real time. So I'm going to back up and tell you what that feedback is. So the sensors are picking up the current brain frequency. So your current brain frequency for that 30 minutes, it's picking it up 256 times a second, so that when it hears the skip in the music, it recognizes that something has shifted in the frequency. You got excited, you relaxed, whatever it is came forward, and there's a shift. And that's getting it 256 times a second, so that the brain can choose, does it want to keep that frequency? Does it want to keep going down that pattern, or does it want to create a new neural pathway? And it usually wants to create a new neural pathway, and it usually wants to kind of defrag and organize itself, because we have accumulated so much static, whether it's big traumas, little traumas, stress, traffic, emails, parents, all the things. So it wants to defrag itself and move the static out. So ultimately, you are feeling really relaxed. You're really present in your life. You're possibly even healing from some traumas that you've had in your life. Maybe you haven't. Your sleep is going to be more balanced. Your focus is going to be like a lot more on par. And so that's the technology. And I know I said people can come and see me. I also rent these systems out or sell them, and people, rent and buy them across the country, so that you have your own system in your house.
Amazing. I'm like, and actually, like, what amazes me, I think part of it is just simply that you can take control of the fact that you have, your own health in your hands, right? And I love that aspect, because I'm a big advocate of, self health, and taking care of self first, because so many of us serve others. But if you don't take care of yourself, right? And you were in that position with a small child, and that was a gift that you were able to give yourself, so that you could continue to mother the way that you wanted to, right? And to show up as you wanted to do, and for him and for yourself as well. I mean, we're not going to discount that, because that's the most important, right? Which
Yeah.
is why I said I love this statement of, I wanted to continue my epic life, because that is what every woman should have, is an epic life, right? You should love, I would say, live the life you love, and love the life you live, right? I mean, it's a round robin, so to speak. So,
Yeah, I agree.
um, I really have enjoyed learning a little bit about the technology. I know that you do have a free gift that you want to share, regardless of somebody um, has, interest in the actual technology of implementing, but you wanted to share a gift with our readers. I want you to talk a little bit about this, because it's called 5 Minutes to Calm, and this is how they can get it. I want to share that a little bit about what that's about.
So I operate, like we've been talking about, from the belief that our brain and our bodies know how to heal. And so if we're giving it, the optimal space, to do that, we can function a lot better in the world. Our relationships can be better. Not that your life is perfect. I mean, I just got upset at my child right before we got on here. So like, things aren't perfect. However, I'm going to do this exercise when I get done, and I'm going to repair with him, and I'm going to, kind of fix it and get back to my center. But the 5 minutes to calm is a really quick and simple exercise that anybody can do. And it's kind of the foundational piece when I actually work one-on-one with clients. Yes, you can rent the system and you can just do that without any coaching with me, but there's value in the coaching and having your own private cheerleader who's not only holding you accountable, but continuing to, usher you forward. And the four components are: what are your intentions, or what is your one intention? What are your limiting beliefs that are keeping you from that intention? And then based on those limiting beliefs, I ask you to do forgiveness statements. And so the forgiving of the judgment is what we can actually hold in the body. And when we move through that energy and those blocks and the static, we can become a lot lighter and a lot freer because we're not allowing those resentments and the stress and whatever that pattern is. We do a pattern interrupt with it. So when you forgive the judgment of the things, that's when you can move through it, and then we finish it with gratitude. And so when you go onto my website, you'll see the exercise, and you can do it at home. You can also call me and I can help you with it. But
I
yeah.
love that, and, I'm all about the gratitude. I think that's, such an important component in anyone's life, truly. So I wanna kinda circle back, first of all, I wanna, just make sure everybody knows they can grab that copy of the 5 Minutes to Calm at thekindbrain.com. Make sure you put the THE in front of kindbrain.com, and you can connect with, Kelley there and see all the things she's doing, really. I also want to circle back because I know that we mentioned the technology, and the technology is very exciting and really been impactful for you, and I know for many others. And there may be listeners who are sitting in the same space of grief, and maybe it's been 5 years and they're still in the same place they were 5 years ago, or they've had a traumatic experience that they just haven't been able to, overcome. So you have offered an amazing gift to our viewers. So I want you to share a little bit about what you're offering for our viewers.
Yeah. So if you go to the link and you sign up for a free 30-minute coaching call, just put either WOW in the subject, or, Sherry, or something to WOW Warrior, just something to remind me that you came from the show. And I will do a 30-minute call with you. And so ultimately, I want people to peel back all the layers to really get in touch with their intuition, and so that they're really understanding and knowing themselves from that core place. I mean, I'm still a work in process with all of that. I'm not perfect with it, but it is still something that I hold as an intention to focus on every day. And so we would go through that exercise. I would see what's going on in your life. I would give you some ideas on how to kind of, continue moving forward. But the thing that I would say first and foremost is that choosing to sign up for a 30-minute call is one thing, and then choosing to commit to changing your life, whatever that is. Maybe it's not a grief thing, maybe it's not a traumatic thing, but it's wanting to still up level. Once you make that choice and then commit to no matter what, everything changes. Everything changes. And that's when things start to line up. So I would support you in that, even in a 30-minute call, if that's
I
all that you.
love that. And I'm always known for saying choices create change. Change your choices and your choices change. That's one of my
You're
favorite
like
lines.
the queen of like these one-liners are fantastic.
So I've been told. So I want you to know that you can grab your free gift from Kelley Raleigh at bit.ly/kind free. And that will be the link to grab your consultation with Kelley, 30 minutes of her time. You will be so happy that you did that. She is a delight, and just literally an energetic bump, if you will. So I would totally encourage you to spend some time getting to know Kelley, and I think she could really help you. Don't forget, you can get your 5 minutes of calm also at thekindbrain.com, and go to her website at thekindbrain.com. You can find out all things Kelley Raleigh. And because I know she has some other things coming up. She's got a really cool retreat coming up. And do you want to just, I want you to have the opportunity to share a little bit about what that is, because I know that you have one coming up and you're going to have several throughout the year. Do you want to share a little bit about that before we close
Yeah.
out?
So I love retreats. I have been facilitating seminars and retreats and international projects for a very long time. And when I decided to, start this business again, one of my main goals was to get back to doing retreats again. And so this retreat in particular is called Back to You. It is for adults only, so you have to be 18 to join. It is in Topanga, California. At least the one in March is going to be at Topanga, California. So March 10th through the 12th, and it is 3 full days. So it's not rolling in Friday night, leaving Sunday morning. It is 3 full days. You each get a neurooptimal session every day. You get red light therapy every day. We're on this beautiful property with a non-chlorinated pool, with an infrared sauna, nature. Like, we're in the trees. It's so beautiful and magnificent and lovely and relaxing. Everybody gets a human design session with my partner, Sophie, who does this with me. We do breath work. We do a lot of processing, not to the extent that it's too much. We don't overprocess, but we really work on the letting of the things go, like the moving through so that you are tapping into your core. And we do only have 9 spaces because it is in retreat. So everyone will be spending the night. We have delicious, super clean, organic food cooked all day for us. And it's just a magical weekend. And so we have the one March 10th to the 12th. We're looking at the first week of June for the next one. And then I want to get out and do like some longer ones in, I don't know, the Bahamas, Newfoundland, just do some really creative like spaces.
Yes, I love that. So be sure to connect with Kelley Raleigh. You're going to be able to follow along on all those developments and those upcoming retreats at thekindbrain.com. I'm sure you'll find all that information on there. Grab her freebie, the 5 minutes to calm. You'll be so glad that you did that. And schedule your time to talk to Kelley. She is an amazing woman. She is a wow warrior. Thank you so much, Kelley, for being here today. I appreciate you and everything you're doing and all the good you're putting into the world.
Thank you. And thank you. I think this is a great platform, and I just appreciate you and your support as well.
Thank you so much.